Hi guys, welcome on Tales and Trails, and like we start our video, do subscribe to our channel if you are new, and keep watching our video till the end because this is kind of a very different kind of video that we have tried, and from the title itself you would have known that this is going to be a little more interesting, and so watch till the end because there is a small surprise for you guys too. So today we'll be talking about a very interesting festival that is celebrated in Odisha, and this festival is not celebrated in any other part of India or across the world. So Odisha is already famous for a couple of festivals that it celebrates, and one of the most world famous festival is the Car Festival, or known as Rath Yatra, that is celebrated for Lord Jagannath. And there is another such festival that is known as Rojo, or we call it Rojo Sankranti or Mithuna Sankranti. So it is Rojo, it is not Rajo or Raja or something. So it is Rojo, and not many people talk about this festival. This festival is kind of more confined to Odisha, and I mean that is the main reason that is why I wish to talk about this festival, because I want not just Odisha but rest of the country and rest part of the world also celebrate this beautiful festival and know the essence and the reason behind this festival. So first let's know that when and why do we celebrate Raja Sankranti. So Raja Sankranti is celebrated on the onset of monsoon, and it is celebrated to river Mother Earth's fertility. It also signifies that when we say Mother Earth's fertility, it refers to a woman also. So it is circle around a woman's fertility, on menstruation, and what happens and what goes through. It is said that goddess Earth also menstruates for 3 days, and that is the essence, and that is the reason behind why we celebrate Raja Sankranti. So you must be thinking that in a country like India, where talking about menstruation is a taboo itself, there is a state that is already celebrating menstruation, and it's not just for 1 day, we celebrate it for 3 days. So I mean, how and why? I mean, how is it happening? So Rojo is celebrated, I mean it's like an age-old tradition that Odisha has been celebrating. So on Rojo, like the first day is Pahali Rojo, the second day is Rojo Sankranti, and the third day is Basi Rojo. So here we wash Mother Earth, and all the girls and the women, they are all dressed up beautifully. Their feet are painted red with alta, and they put mehendi. They wear their favorite new dresses all 3 days, and they roam around with friends, and they eat meetha pan. There is always a swing, a decorated swing always set up for them to play during Rojo. And there is another thing that we play during Rojo, that is jua, or you say poker. So I mean, we get money from our home, and then we play cards and earn money. It goes around all night long. So that is how we celebrate Rojo. So something that concerns me a lot is that why is it celebrated only in Odisha? Why is it not celebrated across the country or across the world? I mean, why is menstruation a taboo? I mean, in this 21st century also, there are people who feel ashamed talking about menstruating, or are they don't discuss about it, they're not vocal about it. I mean, slowly it's happening. Undoubtedly, now there are many NGOs, many bloggers who are kind of taking initiative to speak about it more and more, spreading more and more awareness. But don't you think that this basic education should start at home. Parents should feel free to talk to their children about this and to educate them, because I mean, it is just going to make this thing quite very simple and not as complex as we all assume it. So yeah, that is something that concerns me a lot. And how I assume this thing to be is like, generally, when we start menstruating, we are not in that age, or we are not in that point of mind or in that state of mind to understand that what has happened and why is it happening to me, and is it some kind of sickness or something. So I mean, it's kind of the responsibility of the parents to educate their children quite very young, irrespective of the gender. I mean, a boy should also know, a girl should also know about menstruation. So that is kind of the need of the time. And like, I'll just quote a small example. Like, let's say that there's a fifth or a sixth class girl, and she's in the school, and like from nowhere, she gets some stomach cramp and she starts menstruating, and she goes to the washroom and she sees a stain of blood in her underwear, and she panics. She gets horrified because maybe her parents have not earlier told her that this is something that's at a point of your life, it's going to come to your life. Your body is going to change, you'll have hormonal changes, you're going to bleed, you are going to use a pad or something. I mean, it's not discussed. So that small little girl, from nowhere, she gets horrified, she panics that what is happening to me and things like that. So I mean, I think that schools are taking a chance of educating, but it's always said that the education begins at home. So this education should also be provided when you are teaching your girl how to sit, how to stand, how to wear, and how to go outside, how to talk and things like that. I mean, this should also be a part of that basic knowledge that you're providing to your children. And it should not be only taught to young girls, it should also be taught to young boys, so that when a girl faces such kind of a situation at school or at some tuitions and outside in malls or things like that, boys should not mock at the girls. I mean, if their dress gets stained and things like that, I mean, we should be supportive at that point of time, rather than saying, see what has happened, there is a stain on her clothes, look what has happened, and things like that. I mean, don't make that person uncomfortable by passing comments and things like that. So these are kind of these are sensitive things, right? These are personal, these are sensitive, and if you make fun of these things, you are just mentally traumatizing somebody. So I mean, I feel that education should be provided at home prior to your education that's been provided at the school. And now let's talk about some myths that are being followed since ages in our country, and I think it's high time that these myths should be removed. And I know at couple of homes these are still followed, like you are not allowed to sleep on your bed, you are given a different chatai and pillow to sleep on the ground, your kitchen utensils are kept separate, and you're not allowed to enter into your kitchen, and the food is given to you outside, and then you're not allowed to offer prayers to your god and goddesses, which is kind of these are myths. These are things that shouldn't be followed, because menstruation is a natural process, and every single woman faces it every month. And I mean, it happens naturally. We are not somebody it's just happening out of some sickness or something. It's a process. I mean, like, let's say if you wish to have a baby, it's just not sex that is important. You need to be fertile, and for being fertile you have to menstruate, right? So it is not something that women are to be blamed of or to be treated in that way. So I think it's high time for these myths to be removed. And like, when your girl or your wife or your parents are menstruating, they should be treated equally. They should be given that comfort, and they should be made feel secure, because when you're menstruating, those are difficult times. You get your mood swings due to your hormonal imbalance. You have your stomach cramps, your feet start swelling, you have a different kind of appetite. So these are the time when I feel the utmost care should be given to a woman, rather than following these age-old myths. So I kind of tried making this video a little more interesting, and I asked a couple of men, whom I know closely, to make a small video about how they feel about menstruation. I framed around 3 to 4 questions, and I asked them to answer these questions, and let's see what they have to answer about menstruation.
Okay, so yeah, coming to the first question, when did you first know about menstruation? Yeah, I think I got to know more or less from my home, and usual discussion within the family. My family, mom and dad, they're quite open about it, quite vocal about it, and I got to know from them. But that's the first one. But how did you learn about it from home or school? Yeah, so the technicalities of it, how it impacts your body, a woman's body, that I got to know obviously from the schools, from the education, because back then we did not have internet and stuff to dig deep and understand more about it. So school provided a medium for that, but not really to a broader context, at least. But at least we got to know the basics of it. So that was helpful. Did you feel it as a taboo to discuss about? Yes, personally I don't feel, but if you consider the masses, then yes, because it's a sensitive topic, and more or less, more than that, it's a personal topic, right? So something should be kept personal. You don't want to share it across with your friends, family. Should be kept to yourself. And but me personally, yeah, I don't I used to be like that, but I think it's society is changing, and people are getting modern, people are getting vocal, people are sharing their thoughts and emotions on social media and whatnot. So I think slowly, people are getting to know. It's a very common thing to discuss, but India as a society is not really that modern, right? So we'll get there eventually, but the signs are good. So let's see how that goes. So how will I prefer buying it? So prefer buying it, doesn't matter. If I get it on a get it directly from the store, or get it in a polythene like you may ask in the question, doesn't really matter. I prefer it anytime. Anyhow it is convenient to me. If there is no polythene, I don't harm. Since we are into no plastics and no polythene bags, so yeah, eventually, it's completely normal. To get it in your own hands, because it's nothing to be ashamed of, nothing to be ashamed about, and nothing to hide from anyone as well, right? So it's quite natural. If you go to the stores, those are the first things that they display, right? The glass panels that they have, these are the first things that they display. So it's kind of obvious, right? So they're displaying it because people more or less are going to buy it, because that's a requirement, right? So I don't prefer it. Anything is fine for me, basically, to answer your question. So I hope I got all covered. Thank you.
So I came to know about menstruation when I first went to buy a pad for my sister, and that shopkeeper it gave me that pad wrapped into a paper, and he was quite like nervous and quite conscious while giving it to me. So I got curious, and then I came back to home, and then I googled it. So at that time I was around 16 years old, and that's when I came to know what is menstruation and what are pads used for. And I think it's not a taboo at all to discuss about menstruation. It's quite a normal thing and a natural thing, and yeah, I can carry it confidently into my hands. I don't need a paper or like black polythene to carry a pad. Yeah, that's it.
I came to know about menstruation when I was in class 6th or 7th, when I was seeing an TV ad. I came to know about it from my family, I guess. While I was seeing an TV ad, I guess. Yes, I think that it is basically a taboo to discuss about, because people are not very free about speaking the word menstruation, or they basically know about it but they don't want to speak about it. So I think that it is a taboo that people need to discuss about it. Yes, of course, I will be very confident to buy a sanitary pad from the store and without wrapping it in a black polythene, because I'm not carrying any sort of atom bomb or bomb that people will be like, "Wow, what you are carrying." It's just a sanitary pad, and everyone knows that female menstruate, women menstruate, and they need a sanitary pad for their use. So, what is there to hide in that?
Sure. Oh yes, first time I came to know about it at my home when my sister's first cycle started. Then I came to know in detail in my standard 10 biology class. It is not a taboo to discuss as if it's a part of reproductive cycle. Being a member of a doctor family, I never feel bad to carry sanitary pads unwrapped. Nothing to hide. I brought these sanitary pads many times for my wife and my daughter. It's not a taboo. Thank you.
So I would also love to answer, the 4 questions that I asked to my dearest men. So my first question was, when did you first know about menstruation? So I was around in class 1 or 2 when I had the knowledge about menstruation, and I got to know about it from my grandmother. So my grandmother was a doctor, and I come from a doctor family. I have that background, so these things are most talked often. And I remember, we in the evening we used to play this board game that is Scrabbles, and that's when me and my grandmother used to make those words and earn points. And there my grandmother used to make these words from these medical terms. So I came across ovaries and ovum, miscarriage, menstruation. These kind of words were the ones she used to make, and that helped me to get educated about these reproductive terms. Yeah. So the second question was, did you learn about it at home, or from friends, or from school? So I learned it from my home, of course. Both my grandparents, my parents, my family, they are kind of open, talking about it. And I remember I was in class 7th when I had my menstruation, and I didn't panic at all. I saw a stain of blood in my underwear, and I went to my mother and I said that, Mama, just give me a pad. I think I have started menstruating. So I was kind of quite calm and composed because I already knew about it. So it was not something that was new to me. So my third question was, do you feel it is a taboo to discuss about menstruation? Personally, it's not a taboo for me, but I feel, that, India is not still that open to discuss about menstruation. Slowly it's getting better. Slowly, the internet, Google, and sex educations at school, and awareness by NGOs and things like that, they are kind of sharing these topics quite openly now, but there is still a part of society that still feels that this is something that we should keep to ourselves. We should not share about it. I mean, that should change, and that will change with time, of course, and people will become more vocal about it, and things will become better. So my last question was, how would you prefer buying a sanitary pad, wrapped in a paper or in a black polythene, or you can carry it confidently? So I'll tell you, I used to be very curious about when you go to a medical store or a normal stationery store and you ask for a sanitary pad packet, they used to get that packet, wrap it in a paper, put it in a black polythene, and then give you. And I was like, why do you need to do that? Because you're displaying it openly at your store. So why can't you just carry that and go home directly? I mean, why are you, adding extra polythene and things to that and increasing the pollution, right? So I don't feel that I need a wrapper or a paper to be, wrapped around and a pad to be given. I can carry a pad quite openly. And I still feel that there are people, I mean, there are men who still don't know how a pad looks like and what does a woman wear when she's menstruating. So this is a sanitary pad, and this is what we wear when we menstruate every month. And now it's just not pad. The market has become quite broader, and now we have tampons, we have menstruating cups. So I think it is hygienic, and people should use this instead of using a cotton cloth during menstruation to avoid reproductive diseases and maintain that hygiene that is needed when you're menstruating.
So yeah, this is what Roger is all about, and I'm super glad that I have come up with this video and that I'm sharing with you. So please do share this video as much as you can.